Welcome to video from thedigital-lifestyle.com. This is my new ambient soundscape collection for the Korg Wavestate. This is a collection of 30 performances, and there's loads of programs as well. If I go to all data, you can see we've got all this is to create sort of ambient soundscape type sounds on the Korg Wavestate. I've done a couple of these on the Mob Wave, and I wanted to have a go at doing on the Wavestate. It's a different kind of synth, and so you get different results, but really interesting ones as well. So in this video, I'm just going to demonstrate the performances and perhaps show you a little bit how I created them. So a bit of a tutorial as well on using the Wavestate. I'm learning the Wavestate. I'm more familiar with the Mob Wave, so these are a way of me learning how to do those. So let me start with the first one. It's called 3 arps, and because it uses 3 arpeggiators, no wave sequence in this one. Some of the others do. Most of them support the vector control. Most of them support poly aftertouch as well. If I remember to, I'll highlight some of those in the video. So this one is the 3 arps. So the idea behind that one is there's 3 arpeggiators and a string pad as well. So you've got a string pad on layer D, and then you've got A, B, and C are 3 arpeggiators. And you can hear that sort of fluttery sound as well. So you can kind of hear that kicking in as well. So let me show you how I did that. So if we go into edit mode. So if I isolate the layers, so here can you see one layer. So I'm using some LFO on the filter to control that. And here's the other one. I've done them at different times as well, so you get the most out of the arpeggiators. So instead of them all being at the same time, they're all using different times. Again, using the LFO for that one. And then there's the third one. And again, using an LFO to bring that in, so it completely disappears at times and then comes back. So you get that sort of nice trill effect that kicks in, that because it's quite a fast one. And then the third layer is just is the nice sort of pad sound on there, analog string sound. I've saved all these layers. Most of these patches have got these performances have got the layers saved as programs, so you can incorporate the layers into your own programs and performances. So that's the effect. So that's 3 layers. The 3-layer arp. This one is a. So now I've got a landscape type one. So this one I call ambient landscape because it gives me that feel of a sort of a big landscape. So we're using the wave sequence here to switch between these different voices on that layer. Which is using the arpeggiator, but it's using the arpeggiator with the wave sequencer to switch the sound that it's using by using note advance. So as you can see, all the different oscillators that I've used there, so it gives a bit of movement because it's doing that. On layer C, we've got this square wave. There's no arpeggiator or sequencing going on there. I'm using the LFOs to control the filter to bring that in and out. And then layer D is just the chords on there. So when you bring it all together, get a nice layered sound. So these two, Android Dreams and Android Dreams 2. So what I've done with those two, I'll start with the second version because it's got an extra layer on here, which is the sweep up effect. So that's the sweep up you can hear on there. On Android Dreams, the original one, it doesn't have that, so it's a bit easier to play because you don't have to wait for it to kick in, but you don't get that effect. So you've got both of them. So it's a very Blade Runner-esque type sound. That's where the name comes from, and it's a pretty straightforward patch actually. And I'll go. This is the version 1. So you've got the electric piano, which you can hear. You've got the strings. So you've got the electric piano. And then on layer 2, you've got the layer B. It just works on the lower side of the keyboard, and that is using that wave sequencer just to give that effect. So that rhythmic feel to it. And then the other 2 layers are the string pads. Two slightly different string pads as well, so you can hear the mellower layer C, which starts sooner, and then the filter on layer D comes in a bit later, but it has more richer sound. So when you combine them with the performance, you get that sort of effect. And then on the second one, the sequel, we've just got one of the pads, but instead we've got that sort of rise up sound. You can hear that. And then it drops out again. Then you won't hear it for a bit. And then you hear it come back in. Notice how on this one I did originally have the down pitch coming in, but I changed that gate to a rest because I didn't like the down pitch with it, but you could change that. So this is a choral type one. So we've got a few layers on this one. So you've obviously got the chorus, but then you've got the percussive layers as well. So if I go to so there you can hear the arpeggiator controlling that synth sound. And then layer B is a nice choral. Layer C is just on the left hand. And that's using a wave sequence, so we've got the bass and some of the effects on there as well. And then layer D is the rhythmic part. So when you put them together, to get that effect. Now this one's called Choral Set because this is another choral one. So this one, you can hear those layers kicking in. We've got a bit of guitar, we've got the choral and some string to bring that together. You can hear the guitar. So this one I've called CR78 Air. And for a simple reason, I've created a rhythm pattern here that's using the Roland CR78 type sounds. Those sort of vintage analog drum machines. And then we've got some other layers with that as well. You hear the arpeggiator. So it's not meant to be in the air tonight, but it does have that kind of feel. I think that's partly because we played the chords in D minor, but you've got the pad. So let me break that one down again. You heard the rhythm part. So we've got the synth part, nice simple synth part. And then we've got so there you can hear that arpeggiator. That's sort of square wave arpeggiator. And then another pad, sort of digital sound. So when you put it together, you get so it wasn't meant to be in the air tonight, but it does have that feel. So this is doing a bit of digital bell sweeping. So you've got one layer that's doing the chords, or the repeated pattern using the arpeggiator. Using an LFO to do the stereo on that one. And then we've got a layer. Nice traditional pad. I do like some of these waveforms that are in the Wavestate, the samples. We can keep playing here to that. And then we've got another layer. And this is an arpeggiator with no advance on the wave sequencer. So the arpeggiator's triggering the changes in the sequence. So we've got those different elements on the samples on there. So on this layer here, you can hear the different sounds that I'm using to that wave sequence, and that's just a question of the arpeggiators going, but we've also switching through the notes and using the different bell tones on there, on that sort of DW8000. And then we're switching. So there you can hear. It's just switching through those different DWGS, the digital bell type tones. So the next one is Dreambox, inspired by the sample, the Dreams sample that's in the Wavestate, or the Wavestation, or the M1. So we've got a few layers on there. You can hear the piano. In fact, we've only just got the two, haven't we? We've got the piano, and then we've got the switching between the Dreambox and that sort of digital sound. So I do like that, using the wave sequencer to get that sort of effect. It's just really hard to do on any other synth, really. So another atmospheric type one. This is Echo Pad, just dual layers on this one. We've got, so you can see the shape lane there is being used on the filter as well as the pitch. So that gives you that evolving type sound. And the other layer is actually a nice, simple ensemble, string ensemble, Selena type sound. So this is Echo Piano. It's a similar type of sound. It's based on the same sound, but with that piano kicking in. And that was achieved by using the piano sample and going up in the octaves. So if I just highlight that, so you can hear we've got the synth sound and then the piano. And I've synced the notes together. A good example there of how you can use the wave sequencing, so it's not just about a single sound, you can combine all these sounds. So one wave sequence there is playing the synth part and then switches to playing the piano part. So the flexibility and the amount you can do with this is amazing. So when you look at some of the presets, you'll see how they've done it, how Korg have done it, and there are some really interesting uses of these techniques. That's just one of them, but it does open it up for when you're doing sound design. You're not just thinking, okay, this layer's about the piano or this layer's about the synth. You've got all these combinations. So this is a fun one. This is called Graveyard Vocal for kind of obvious reasons. We've got a few different effects on there. If I just using 3 layers. we've got the church bells. And I've done the split so it doesn't quite cover the whole keyboard, so it only goes around the middle and the lower side. So if you start playing higher, you don't get really high-pitched church bells. But when you play it low down, you get those nice low ones. Layer B is just that low sound in the lower key, just in the lower section, just to give us a bit of atmosphere. And then I think layer C should be the vocal. And there you can see the wave sequence. Just switching up so you're going from the first to the third. Just gives it that sort of eerie feel. And so when you combine them all together, so it's quite an interesting effect. It's what I call heartbeat, because you need a heartbeat, which every now and again mistriggers because of the wavestate length. There you go. You hear the poly aftertouch on the synth. So that's just a question using the wave sequences. So they can see the kick drum. The extra kick was by accident, just when I was messing about with the timing lane, so I left that in. It's just because the lengths aren't quite right to the master sequence, so every now and again it has to kind of catch up. And then we've got a nice 2600 sawtooth. And then the arpeggiator in the left hand, again split so it just does the left hand. And then another arpeggiator using the same kind of sound but with a different sequence, designed for the right hand. Now, I mentioned earlier on in the air tonight, this is also the inspiration for this patch. Again, not meant to be the exact patch. I've used the same CR78 rhythm sequence, but then some other bits of this one. So we've got a so on layer B, we've just got a string ensemble. It's only in the left hand for the lower part to give you that sort of low bass. And we've got the guitar part. So it goes to that wave sequence. So you've got the power chord at the beginning of it, and then later you've gone to the higher the higher notes, so it sort of steps up, but it's almost like feedback kicking in. And then we've got a pad as well, and that's the probably more like the In the Air Tonight pad. So like I said, it's not supposed to be in the air tonight, but it does evoke that sort of. And there's poly aftertouch as well. You can hear that on the guitar layer. So this one combines a few different effects. So this combines a few different layers. So a nice warm 2600 waveform. I do like that 2600 waveform. And layer B. And this is using the LFO to trigger this. Then layer C, we've got some VPM belt. And it only plays later in the sequence rather than all the time. So they're not synced up. So it gives you that sort of off-timing effect. Lots of saws. So not strictly a atmospheric or a soundscape type one, but I did want to have a play with the concept of going through all the sawtooths in the sequence and came up with this one. So a bit like the original Wavestation mini lead, which goes through all those mini samples that are in, they're called mini ones, and I think they're from a mini mode. It gives you that really interesting lead effect. What I've done with this one, I've took the exact same principle, and I've just gone through all the different sawtooths. So it's subtle, and maybe to untrained ear, you won't be able to see the difference, but you can hear the difference. So it gives you that movement on it, which is why I like that one. And I've got 2 on there as well. This is One World. Got a nice pad sound and that sort of rush of a digital sound kicking in. A simple one, just 2 layers, the piano and the choir. So this one's called Planet Rotation. Three layers on this one, and you can hear we've got a Selena string, and on layer B, you can hear that Selena. And you can hear the wave sequence on that. So you can hear it going through those piano waves. And then layer D. Is an arpeggiator on the kalimba, the M1 sample. It sort of builds up. Polyslide. So this one I used polyphonic portamento to bring us to sort of the big sort of final chord. So on layer B, we've got the choir, and you can see it steps up and goes up the octaves and then back down again. So at the same time as layer A is doing the portamento, to bring the notes all together, you've got the chords going up. So at first they sound static and then they start going up the octaves. So it's a nice pleasing effect. A resistance plan. So this one, a couple of different techniques. On layer A, we've got the down the lower side, or lower keyboard. Using that technique that I looked at before with the sawtooths, but this is using all different resonance waves, and then it's switching between them. So random order on these. The arpeggiator's on, and that's doing note advance as well. So that's nothing in the right hand for that one. Now the right hand, we've got the pads. So when you put it all together, so you've just got that rhythmic effect on there. So another interesting rhythmic one. So on layer A, so we've got the chords or the strings. Layer B, we've got the main sequence, which is just going through those different samples. I really like that third sound that kicks in when I was playing around, that just created this, that really stood out to me, this sort of like almost like a stab that kicks in. I really like that. So you've got the percussion and then you've got that third layer. And this one is called Searchlight. This one kind of evoked the, I think there's another Blade Runner scene with this in one of the old apartment buildings, and the sort of lights, searchlights almost going past, and there's kind of a swooshing sound as these lights catch in the corridor or in the stairwell section, and that's what it kind of evoked when I was doing that. So there's that sort of effect. I think of these spotlights going around on the searchlights, and then we've got my old favourite, a Selena string ensemble, and then a higher one, so that combines. And on layer D, we've just got that sort of bell. So just get a really nice atmospheric sound. Just playing about with these things, that they sort of come as you're playing them. Spectrum strings. A fairly traditional patch. I've just laid some nice strings with the Spectrum sampler. The Spectrum sample. So the next one is a little bit more traditional sort of sound. So it's almost the house type piano, but not quite. There you can hear that sort of traditional M1, the house piano, and I've just done the timing line to get those sequences. So it's not a traditional house piano, but it does have that sort of sliced feel to it. And it's an octave on the stabs there, on the brass, on the synth section. An arpeggiator running with a free running LFO. A lot of these effects use free running LFOs as well. A lot of these patches use free running LFO. And then just a simple drum section. So I've got a couple of ones now. I like both of these, so I've retained both of these. TD, Tangerine Dream combination. So these TD and TD combinations, they're kind of Tangerine Dream inspired. So this is TD Combi, so Tangerine Dream inspired. There's a simple version of it, which is the TD Combi. And using a few different effects on here. So that's an interesting layer, this one. So that's one layer. So it starts off with the traditional kind of a Tangerine type sound, but then evolves. Quite a complex wave sequence, or a simple wave sequence, which is quite a complex sound. My own favourite, a bit of Selena, a bit of resonance. Again, switching through sequences just to give them a bit of movement, switching through the samples to give some movement, and then a simple drum pattern to go with it. It makes quite a complex patch or performance because of those little elements. And finally, we have some vocals. And you can hear them switching. And actually, a couple of layers I switched off. This layer I didn't include. Because I originally included it to give it sort of a more medieval type sound. But I didn't like it, so I turned that off. So look, we've got a nice ooh, and we've got an R, but then we're using the wave sequencer to switch between the different waveforms and the octaves as well. So it gives you that nice big effect. So those are the Soundscape ambient collection for sounds for the Korg Wavestate, loosely under that sort of banner. To import them, you just download the zip file from thedigitallifestyle.com. It's free download. You then unzip the file. You'll find in there a Wavestate bundle file. Go to your librarian, or if you're on the native version, just go straight into the library section, go to import, bring those input, find that file, bring it in, and you'll get those performances in there. That along with my other state, I've got an analog strings section. I've got a Genesis one coming soon. So I've got a lot more coming for the Wavestate. I've also got some D110s. You remember the old Roland D110? I've sampled it myself and did a whole collection of that as well. So head over to digitallifestyle.com. If you've got Modwave, I've got a ton on there as well. I've got some for Minilogue and the new 2600 Korg 2600 plugin as well. So please like and subscribe if you like the video. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.